All right. I'd like to welcome everybody to the August 13th City Council meeting. And I will start by reading stuff here. This public meeting of the City Council is recorded on Zoom with a link that is posted on the agenda. If you are calling in on a phone, you can press *9 to request to speak. If you are watching on a computer or device, there is a raised hand button that you can tap or press to request to speak. Please use either of these options during oral communications and public hearings to be recognized to speak. Technical difficulties arise and the Zoom link is interrupted during an in-person hybrid meeting of the City Council and a quorum is present. The meeting may continue after efforts have been made to reestablish the link. The minutes shall note the interruption. I'm going to now read the non-discrimination statement opener for the City Council meetings. Finding of the City of Gloucester that no individual should be denied equal treatment or opportunity because of their age, ancestry, color, disability, including intellectual and developmental, mental disability, family status, immigration status, gender identity or expression, military status, marital status, national origin, race, religion, sex, or orientation. And I would just like to take the opportunity to speak for myself and my fellow city councilors to say that, to denounce the racist graffiti that was on the wall on Dale Avenue. I believe there is no place in Gloucester for this kind of activity. So hopefully we will be able to find out how it happened, although you would think with all the cameras that are around on people's doorbells that we would have something, but clearly, I guess we don't right as of yet. Now we have with us our City Councilor at large, Valerie Gilman, Ward 4 City Councilor, Frank Majota, Ward 1 Councilor, Scott Memard, Councilor at large, Jeff Worthley, Ward 3 Councilor, Marjorie Grace, Councilor at large, Jason Groh, and Vice President and Ward 5 Councilor Sean Nolan. Myself, I am Council President Tony Gross, and Councilor Dylan Benson will be arriving shortly. On the call, we have CAO Jill Cahill, we have the Auditor Kenny Costa, and with us in the room, we have City Councilor Grace Poirier and City Clerk Grace Poirier and Assistant City Clerk Danielle Argentino. Oh, and we have Rob Bakari over there. Thank you for being here. And he is here on his own time. Should be pointed out. So we shall now raise for the flag salute. I don't think we have any moment of silence tonight. And Councilor Majota will stand in for Councilor Benson.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Stand for a moment of silence. Thank you very much. Next order of business, Madam Clerk.
Oral communications.
Anyone in the room would like to speak at oral communications on anything that is not on the agenda? I suppose I should read. Let me read the preamble to it. The public shall have an opportunity at every regularly scheduled meeting to be heard under oral communications on matters not appearing on the agenda. Oral communications shall allow any resident and/or property owner and/or business owner who has a request or complaint of any nature relative city business to appear before the council, make their statement without debate, and the City Council will refer matters to the office of the mayor. Person speaking under oral communication shall be limited to 3 minutes. Is there anyone in the room that wants to speak in oral communications? Seeing none, do we have any raised hand? Sorry. Oh, sorry. So state your name and address for the, hold on, she's going to turn the microphone on for you. Turn my head far enough.
Okay. Is that better? Judy Steiner, Steiner, 29 Addison Street, 2R. What else did you need? That's it. So yeah, I'm here to talk about everybody's favorite subject, the 20 Main Street. I have some concern, well, I have major concerns, but part of it is I understand the design of the building has changed, the dimensions of the building has changed, and I'm not sure if that's something that needs to go through ZBA. I'm going to actually research on that one. And the other thing I want to talk about is the site visit. So I was talking to Eric today, and he mentioned that from the site visit, the result was a third-party review, which included like sewage and drainage and structural engineering. And I bring that up because of the retaining wall in the back has been called a load-bearing retaining wall. And I believe it is load-bearing, given that there was issues in a lawsuit earlier in the 1950s, I think, where the retaining wall did collapse. And I can look that up and I'll put it on the, I'll put it where you guys can get it. So that's my, so I talked to Eric and they just cut the, my mind is like mush right now, but they just cut the purchase order. So this is still being done. However, the planning board has a meeting on Thursday where they're going to continue it till September 5th. And the third-party review won't be done by then. So it's kind of like we're playing whack-a-mole, and just because I'm trying to keep tabs on what's going on, I understood that we were going to talk about it tonight or vote on it, but I don't see it on the agenda. So there's my concerns. I'm really concerned about the structural part of it. I think there's clay pipes. Those could have been upgraded since then. I don't know. And I'm sure I'm running out of time, but I don't need it all. Happy birthday to you.
If it was just for clarification, if it was on the agenda, you wouldn't be able to speak about it tonight, but it's not. And you're correct, third-party reviews are in place, and it's being delayed because the city's doing due diligence on that. Thank you very much. Anyone else in the room? Yep, nope. Ready? We have no raised hands online, so Madam Clerk, next order of business.
The consent agenda.
Would anyone wish to pull something off the consent agenda? What, Councilor? Oh, yes, please.
Okay. Applications and petitions, number 1, memorandum from planning board.
You would like to pull that off the agenda?
And I would like to pull that off the agenda.
Anything else anyone would like to pull off the agenda? All right, I'll entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda without that
So moved.
item. So, Counselor Memard, and motion made by Counselor Memard, seconded by Counselor Worthley. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Counselor Grow, would you like to speak on the item, that number one, that you pulled off?
Yeah, we need to vote to waive notice to abutters in accordance with GZO Section 1.11.4B about the public hearing, because it's a citywide issue, and it would be, well, I don't need to go into discussion on it, but we need to vote. We need to go vote to waive the notice to abutters.
So moved.
Motion made by Counselor Gilman, seconded by Counselor Worthley. Any discussion?
Again, just this is, it's citywide. It's an issue that is onerous to notice every single resident of the city. So this is an allowed usage of that variance.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we need to move to set the public hearing date.
We do. We're going to put, the motion is to put this public hearing for September 11, 2024, and I so move.
Motion made by Counselor Gross, seconded by Counselor Nolan. Discussion? Should be noticed noted that that is a Wednesday and it is a special meeting.
It is.
Any more?
I guess the only other thing we need to vote on that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And finally, I didn't do this
You
all
guys
in
have
one.
it, 9-0.
Was to vote to refer this to P&D and the planning board. So moved.
Motion to refer to P&D and the planning board by Counselor Gross, seconded by Counselor Worthley. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Did we get it all?
Sorry, it was a little clumsy and stuff.
That's all right. Got it done.
We got it there.
Next order of business, Madam Clerk.
The August 8th, 2024 Budget and Finance Standing Committee Report.
Counselor Memard.
Thank you. Budget and Finance met on August 8th, 2024, here in this space at the Rose Baker Senior Center. We have 4 or 5 items for your consideration and vote tonight. The first is a memorandum from our city clerk and a 2025 SA special appropriation number 1 in the amount of $3,000, and this is for the purchase of office furniture. Perhaps Grace would like to just comment on that if you'd like, or not, as you wish.
Certainly. The city clerk's office is in very desperate need of new office chairs for its staff. They are completely worn out. They're 10 to 13 years old at this point, and many of them have just been kind of recycled from other departments. So we really need new seating, and we also need new filing cabinets. We have totally outgrown the filing cabinets that we have now. So we house a lot of permanent records in our office, and they need a safe home.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and read the motion. On a motion by myself, seconded by Councilor Worthley, Budget and Finance Committee voted 3 in favor, 0 opposed, to recommend that the City Council approve Supplemental Appropriation 2025 SA number 1 in the amount of $3,000 from the City Clerk Dog License Receipts reserved for Appropriation Fund, transfers to the General Fund account number as noted, to City Clerk Office Equipment account number as noted, and this is for the purpose of purchasing additional file cabinets and new office chairs, and I so move.
Motion made by Counselor Memard, seconded by Counselor Worthley. Discussion. Counselor Worthley.
Question. Thank you to the city clerk's office for bringing this forward. What are you doing now when you run out of space in the file cabinets? You mentioned you have to go somewhere else.
We have off-site storage at the post office basement, and a lot of our files go over there, which is fine, but we're finding that we're having to bring 2 current files over there, so we're going back and forth more than we want to be. And the filing cabinets that we have now, they're just so they're packed so tight. There's a lot of like sore fingers just to get files out of them. So
My understanding would be that there are sometimes customers who are waiting for files that you have to go and get, and that will make it a little more convenient for the public if you can get it more quickly, and also for your staff, not having to go back and forth across the street to the next door to the post office.
it does, and it makes it more efficient with public record requests that we get to be able to have more things stored on site. It's more efficient.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
This is a-
Aye.
Roll
This is a
call.
roll call vote.
Oh, sorry. Back it up.
Counselor Benson. Counselor Gilman. Counselor Grace. Counselor Gross.
Aye.
Counselor Grow. Counselor Majota. Counselor Memhard.
Aye.
Counselor Nolan.
Aye.
Counselor Worthley.
Aye.
The vote is 9 in favor, 0 opposed. The motion passes.
Second item from Budget and Finance this evening is a memorandum from our Grants, Finance, and Compliance Administrator regarding acceptance of fiscal year 2024/2025 Community Development Block Grant in the amount of $678,722, as well as a home, HOME, allocation in the amount of $102,615, and I so move.
Motion made by Counselor Memard, seconded by Counselor Worthley. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Didn't actually read the full text
Oh,
of the.
you didn't?
I just read the summary, so.
Oh, sorry.
If you'll allow me to backtrack.
I guess we went too fast.
We're moving along at a fast clip. Our committee recommendation on a motion by myself, seconded by Councilor Worthley, Budget and Finance Committee voted 3 in favor, 0 opposed, to recommend the City Council accept, under Mass General Law, Chapter 4453A, federal grants in the amount of $678,722 for the Community Block Grant, CDBG, from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD, for program year 2024, fiscal year 2025, and the HOME, HOME grant from the North Shore Home Consortium for program year 2024, fiscal year 2025, in the amount of $102,615. And I do so move.
Now, the practice run is over. Motion made by Counselor Memard, seconded by Counselor Worthley. Is there a discussion again on this matter? No? Seeing none, let's, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 9-0. Next up, Counselor Memard.
So the next item here, excuse me. Item number 3 on our agenda is a memorandum from the fire chief requesting our acceptance of a student awareness SAFE grant in the amount of $5,679.60 and a senior SAFE grant in the amount of $2,385. And there are two motions, one for each of the two programs. And I'll go ahead and read the motion. First one being, on motion by Councilor Memhard, seconded by Councilor Worthley, Budget and Finance Committee voted 3 in favor, 0 opposed, to recommend that the City Council accept a state grant under Mass General Law 4453A, a fiscal year 2024 school-based student awareness of fire education, or SAFE, S-A-F-E grant from the Massachusetts Executive Office of Public Safety and Security, Department of Fire Services, in the amount of $5,679.60. And this is for the purpose of providing fire and life safety education to school-aged children. The grant period is through December 31st, 2024, and there is no local match for this grant, and I so move.
Motion made by Counselor Memard, seconded by Counselor Worthley. Discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, 9-0.
I should just mention before I go to the next one as well, that Chief Eric Smith presented these to us, and we had some detailed discussion about the value of these programs. And I told him that he did not need to attend tonight to do it again. If anybody has a question, they can watch our Zoom meeting from last Thursday. On a committee recommendation on a motion by Councilor Memhard, seconded by Councilor Worthley, Budget and Finance voted 3 in favor, 0 opposed, to recommend the City Council accept a state grant under Mass General Law 4453A, a fiscal year 2024 Senior Awareness of Fire Education, SAFE, S-A-F-E, grant from the Massachusetts Executive Office of Public Safety and Security, Department of Fire Services, and this one is in the amount of $2,385, and for the purpose of providing fire and life safety education to our seniors. The grant period is through December 31st, 2024, and there is, again, no local match for this grant, and I so move.
Motion made by Counselor Memard, seconded by Counselor Worthley. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, 9-0.
Our fourth and final item from Budget and Finance this evening is a memorandum from our Veteran Services Director regarding acceptance of donations to support the Cape Ann Veteran Services in the total amount of $1,050. In the committee recommendation on a motion by myself, seconded by Councilor Gross, Budget and Finance Committee voted 3 in favor, 0 opposed, to recommend that the City Council accept various cash donations under Mass General Law 4453A to support veteran services in the amount of $1,050 from the following members and business partners in our community, and they are Pratty's CAV, Philip Murray Jr., Maureen and Jack Lombardo, Scatterdays Driving School, LLC, Dorothy and Leonard Linquata, and Ed Camo, for a total of $1,050. And I so move with thanks to the donors.
Motion made by Counselor Memard, seconded by Counselor Worthley. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, 9-0. Next order of business, Madam Clerk.
The August 5th, 2024 Ordinances and Administration Standing Committee Report.
We have Jill Cahill online. Would she like to comment on this? All right, not a problem. So basically, this came down to, it's a memorandum from the mayor for the appointment of the elected officials for the 9/3/2024 state primary and the 11/5/2024 state election. There was a list of people that were appointed and have accepted the rights to do this and were asked to be passed through by the administration, and we had no opposition at the Ordinance Administration Committee. So with that being said, I'd like to do a recommendation on a motion by Councilor Gray, seconded by Councilor Majota. The Ordinance and Administration Committee voted 3 in favor, 0 opposed, to recommend in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 54, Section 11 and 11B, that the City Council confirms the appointment of election officers as recommended in the memo from Mayor Verga to the City Council dated July 18th, 2024, and I so move.
Motion made by Counselor Nolan, seconded by Counselor Grace. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it, 9-0. Is that it? Or do you want to comment on that?
We have 2 other situations that we have no action required tonight. One is we're going to have the announcement for a CC 24-017 Worthley Grace, amend GCO Chapter 24, Traffic and Motor Vehicles, Section 22-270, parking prohibited at all times, and Section 22-291, tollway zones by adding Washington Street in the southerly direction 39 feet from its intersection with Grove Street. This matter is being advertised for a public hearing for September 10th on 2024, and that comes down to a parking spot in front of Tony's Variety. The next one is going to be CC 2418 Gross, amend GCO Chapter 5, Buildings and Building Regulations by adding new Article 5, short-term rentals. This matter is being advertised for a public hearing on August 27th, 2024. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that report. Second for, or I guess I will take over. And We'll go right into planning and development.
Very good.
Councilor Grow.
Thank you very much. We have no action required, but we have 3 events that we approved road closures on. So we'll make the announcement that the Brazilian Independence Day celebration on August 25th, 2024 will be right here, won't be right here, we're not at City Hall, it'll be right in front of City Hall on Warren Street all day long. That is, again, August 25th, 2024. Second event was a road closure for the Fish Box Derby on September 22nd, 2024, with a rain date of September 29th, and that would be on Rogers Street over by Gorton's. So if you plan on going through there, you better be in a Fish Box car. Number 3 special events was for Magtoberfest on October 13th, 2024. And that's Lexington Avenue, and that will be all day long as well. A great event, so make an effort to check out your community. There are 3 great events to attend, and that's it. I will have another announcement during the end of the meeting about the 3A stuff coming up.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, just want to update people on the 3A process. Tonight we have referred the zoning amendment proposal to the planning board back for a public hearing and to the P&D. The city is holding a citywide forum on August 21st at 6 p.m. at City Hall, which will have the RKG consultants and city staff there to present the proposal as it's written from the planning board and answer questions. So if you still have concerns or you want to see what the proposal has finally come down to, August 21st at 6 p.m. at City Hall will be the place to do that. P&D will take this up on September 4th for our beginning of our formal review. And as we already pointed out tonight, the first city council and joint public hearing with planning board will occur on September 11th. And if necessary, will be continued after that. But the main meat of the public hearing will be September 11th. So those are the dates. Also, I told Greg Catamatore I would point out that at the top of the website at gloucester-ma.gov is a link to all of the all of the 3A information plus the proposal as written through the planning board. So top page, Gloucester website, you can get all the information you need from that. And if you have any questions, bring them to the 21st meeting. That's it. An observation. Oh, I was told it was City Hall. I apologize.
Which meeting is that?
It's the 21st. Is here? Well, I'll go with that. That's the formal. If that's the formal announcement, then we'll go with Rosebaker City Senior Center. My apologies for that.
And Mr. President, if I could just also add or question, you announced the September 11th and I think a subsequent meeting after that. Do we know yet, and I think it's up to you to decide, will we be here or back at City Hall? I know that we left because of the audio and the lack of an air conditioning,
Right.
but
I think we'll be back in City Hall. We were only here for the summer. So September, we were going to planning to go back there. Oh, I mean, you know, hopefully the weather will have abated.
that announcement again is the 11th? September 11th and September,
Potentially September 26th, but at City Hall. And I do have a note from Greg Catamatore that I misspoke. It is in fact 6 p.m. Wednesday night at the Rosebaker. So right here.
Public hearing is?
No, that's the
Right.
the
The
Public
present,
forum.
yeah, public forum. Thank you.
so many words are so hard to say.
Okay. Next order of business, Madam Clerk.
Public hearing 2024, number 22, renewal of special permit pursuant to MGL Chapter 148, Section 56, and GCO Chapter 22, Traffic and Motor Vehicles, Section 22-153, privately owned open-air parking spaces regarding the Richard Pratt outdoor parking permit at number 2 Beachland Ave.
Okay, I'm gonna, I guess. open the public hearing and ask, is there someone here representing who would like to speak in favor? Name and address for the record, please. Up, microphone also. You know, Frank, why don't you move it over, move the stand. No, I meant, no, the mic stand. Forget it. Are you comfortable holding the mic? Okay. All right.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Mary Jo Montanino. I'm representing Mr. Pratt in this application. My offices are at 186 Main Street in Gloucester. Mr. Pratt is applying for a renewal of his private parking area at Long Beach. He has held this special permit since 1958, and we come back at intervals as required by the statute. And the things that should be considered by the council in this special permit is, will the proposed use have a social, economic, and community needs that will be served by it? And we attest that, yes, there is a special need to keep our beaches open in Gloucester and not have the citizens, the residents of Gloucester or anyone else kept off of our beaches. It's a very important part of the history of Gloucester, and we struggle to keep that, and it's sometimes very difficult. We have an influx of people and not enough places to put the cars, and it becomes a real traffic hazard. This also helps the traffic flow and safety in the area, because you're going down to Long Beach. Without this parking area, there is no place to park. So what happens is people that live there have people coming into their parking areas or blocking roads, and it becomes a situation where they have to be, the person would have to be towed. Not a good outlook for the city of Gloucester, not providing something like that. So the traffic flow and safety, we have addressed those issues with signage and anything that was going to help keeping the traffic flow and safety. For instance, Mr. Pratt puts out signs when his lot is full in advance so that people will know they don't have to come all the way down to Long Beach and be turned away, and they have advanced signage on that. The adequacy of utilities and other public services are these. Mr. Pratt has restrooms, shower facilities, he cleans the beach. It really is a wonderful asset to have those attributes on this site, especially in the height of the season. And of course, it's just a seasonal enterprise because it's for beach parking. So you have to consider the neighborhood character and social structure. Gloucester has had Long Beach for a century, over a century, but more and more of our beaches are getting restricted by private ownership. And we're fortunate that there are still some people who keep places so that someone doesn't have to buy a place or own a place on the water in order to be having access to our beautiful beaches. So this fills that need. Also, the qualities of the natural environment. Long Beach is one of the most beautiful beaches, along with Good Harbor, along that coastline. And we really struggle to keep it as something that we can all remember, having summers with our families on that beach. And this makes that possible. And also the potential fiscal impact. I don't have to tell this council what tourism is to Gloucester. And many of the people who come to Long Beach, and they're not always only Gloucester residents, they come from everywhere. They go to our restaurants, they participate in whatever activities we have, as we know from social outings in the summertime. They love being in the city, and I won't keep you longer than that because that's the fiscal impact, which was the last consideration that you should have. If you have any questions, I'm glad to answer them. I'm sure Mr. Pratt would be glad to answer them if I couldn't answer them. But I would hope that you would allow the renewal. He's been having this license since 1958, and I think he's doing a wonderful job.
Thank you. We'll get to questions later. Thank you very much. Anyone else would like to speak in favor? Want to go up to the podium? Go to the podium, state your name and address.
Evening. My name is Leonard Gyllenhaal. I live at 32 Rockport Road. My wife grew up with Rick. I'm a drag-in. Supported him, I think it's 5 years ago. And then, since then, there's been a local meeting and there was some discussion about who attended and who didn't. I don't want to get into the weeds about against it, who's for it. I just would like to make suggestions that I think could improve it. Ricky runs it, Mr. Pratt runs it really well. He hires local kids. They do clean up. I would point out, though, that the service is really to Rockport. Most of the people go on the Rockport side. Do have problems with queuing. My driveway goes into Beachland Avenue, and they queue cars there. But the people that work for him are pleasant. They help me back out. So I'm in favor, but I'd like to see one improvement. Cars come in late in the day. Brings an element that has caused problems. They're the ones that leave the trash and cause the noise. Rest of the day, it's usually families. They bring a lot of food, so I don't know how much our restaurants are benefiting. But I would propose that the council consider not allowing any cars to enter the lot after 5 o'clock. It can easily close the entry, and I think that will eliminate the problem. My intent is not to cut his revenue at all. He does a good job. He works hard. At the beginning of the season, we chatted, and I said, Rick, we're both getting old. Do we really want to do this much longer? And he said, no. So probably hear about from other neighbors or letters about queuing on Rockport Road. I really don't want to get into that. I just want to make one simple suggestion that I think will improve the operation. I hope that Ricky will understand that I'm not speaking against him. I'm trying to make it better. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else who wants to speak in favor? I'm looking up at the screen now. If you want to raise your hand. Up. Here we go. Yep, I'm watching. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Bill McLaughlin. I'm 30 Rockport Road, 30B actually, and condos, and we're an association there, and all of us are very much in support of it. Myself and my 2 daughters recently moved up here permanently, and we're now voters and we're residents up here. My daughter works in the parking lot, and she'd tell you anyone that comes to the parking lot is typically, or a majority, going out to eat afterwards and asking for dinner reservations and that as they, as it's closing. We have very much impacted. Come in the back of the lot, we see them, and when they leave, they go by the front of our houses. So, but we have no problem with it. We think it's very well. And my daughter works for him. A lot of neighborhood kids work for him, and so 30 Rockport Road Association is very much for it.
Thank you.
Jack Highland, 161 Thatcher.
You have to bring the microphone right up because it's being recorded.
Sorry?
Bring the microphone up. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Jack Highland and my wife's here, Kathy. We're at 161 Thatcher Road. We're right behind the parking lot. And really have no complaints. The only positive thing I can say is a lot of people like me that don't like computers. It's nice to have an alternative. Some of the older people in the area that want to come to the beach. Everything's computerized these days, and you have to get a pass. At least you can go there in the spur of the moment and pay them. So I think it's a good thing. Well.
Thank you. Anyone else to speak in favor? Anyone online? One hand raised. And
Hi, Mary Ann Albert Boucher, 93 Mount Pleasant Avenue. I just wanted to say that, as you all know, we put more restrictions on Niles Beach this summer, meaning less people from out of town. We could offer Niles Beach to the people. Ricky Pratt and his family have been outstanding business people in this city. And as Miss Montanino stated, since 1958. I've known Ricky and his family since I was born. His father and my father were very good friends. I have recognized many, many, many kids throughout the years who have been employed by Ricky and his family. They take very good care of the area. As stated by Miss Montanino, they offer a lot to the people who enjoy the beach daily. And it would be very sad to see that this permit could not be reissued. I've noticed in the past several weeks, other businesses that have been in our city for a long time are not going forward. And it would be very sad to see that this was not renewed. And like I said, Ricky Pratt is an outstanding businessman for our city, and I hope that that this permit is renewed. Thank you so much.
thank you. We have one other hand raised.
Yes, Deborah Weinstock Savoy. I live at 34 Rockport Road, Apartment 8 in Gloucester. That's the Long Beach Place condos. I'm a full-time resident there. And I just wanted to speak in general support of the application. I've lived here now full-time for 12 years. And I feel that Mr. Pratt has been a good neighbor with the abutters. And I've appreciated having the parking lot available from time to time when we have more people coming to visit us than we can fit on our limited parking at the condos as well. I feel strongly about the issue of making as important a natural resource as our beautiful beach available to the public as much as possible, with whatever controls we need to have in place to keep it from getting, completely out of hand. But in general, I've found it to be a very good thing. And I want to repeat the idea that the only people I see cleaning up routinely on the beach, at least at the Gloucester end and the street leading to it, are Ricky Pratt's staff and the people for the Cape Ann Motor Inn directly in front of the Cape Ann Motor Inn. And then maybe once or twice a year, student volunteers going up and down with trash bags to pick stuff up, probably part as volunteer projects. So I appreciate that particular piece as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone who would like to speak in opposition? Just stand up or raise your hand. Seeing none, do we have any communications, Madam Clerk?
The council is in receipt of one communication from Rob Russell in opposition. That email was sent to all of you on Friday, and his opposition was, he had kind of an extensive letter, but he was in opposition to the queuing up of the cars.
Thank you. And, I see we have a person who has a raised hand. John. You want to unmute yourself?
Good evening. This is Rob Russell from 40 Rockport Road.
Okay, thank you.
In Gloucester. And I think that Mr. Pratt has done a reasonably good job, and I really appreciate my neighbors giving him the kudos that he does deserve. However, we are in a very bad situation here regarding the fact that from Memorial Day to July 1st, there are no lifeguards on the beach. And the city of Gloucester is the licensing committee here and granting authority. And Plum Cove, Good Harbor Beach, the minute people start going, we have lifeguards. He's running a business, and the business is maybe or maybe not fairly lucrative, but that's some other story. But we do need is lifeguards here. Definitely Memorial Day through July 1st. There have been more fights in the last 10 years on this beach, more drunken brawls I've ever seen. And it's not Mr. Pratt's fault. The fault lies in Gloucester not putting on controls and conditions and checking. And the fact of the matter is, when you charge $40 a person to come to the beach, $40 a car, you are obligated to provide something here for the beach. And right now we don't have any. Rockport puts 3 lifeguards on starting July 1st. And in several years, there have been no lifeguards because of budget cuts. But when then people see a lifeguard, it also means there's going to be a better decorum. So I have suggested that the lot, once it is filled, it takes no more cars in. He's taken in his $10,000, and at that point, it's over for the day. He queues them up on Rockport Road. My sister had to go to the hospital during COVID, and she took about 25 minutes for the ambulance to get here. And if he just closes the lot when it's filled for the day, our lives will be infinitely better. Because what happens is that people show up at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, and they have coolers, and they go down the beach. They're not leaving in an hour. The lifeguards are gone, and there is fights, and there are issues. I want to applaud Mr. Pratt on doing what his neighbors have said he's done. Yes, he has done those. But I think the fact is we need to have eliminate any repeat parking or whatever you want to call it. And we need lifeguards that comes out of his pocket from Memorial Day till July 1st. And as a consequence, his attorney talked about beach access. Well, Good Harbor sets aside parking spots for residents of Gloucester and non-residents. He should set aside, if he's so concerned about beach access, 50 spots for Gloucester residents that will come in with their stickers. Right now, people from Gloucester cannot enjoy Long Beach.
You're at time.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
I rambled. Wasn't right.
What?
So anyone else want to speak on this, either for or against? Well, yeah, we're not there yet. Do we have any rebuttals that you'd like to make? It goes until April 30th, 2030. So you want to rebut or have us ask questions?
From personal experience.
You have to state your name and address again. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's quite all right. I'll spell it even if you want me to. It's Mary Jo Montanino with offices at 186 Main Street. And what I'd like to say is everybody can't get to the beach during the summer season. Many, many families, including my own, sometimes say, let's all meet down at the beach and we'll have a cold supper or let the kids play at the water. This summer especially has been so hot. I think it's a mistake to say to people, if you can't get here by 5, you're out of luck. And also, there's a lot of young people. I don't know if you're familiar, but I notice this, a lot of young people, and they're not troublemakers, but they go to Long Beach because the surf is great. And they surf. They come after work, and I see them going, some of them walking down Thatcher Road to get to Long Beach. You know, our summers are short. It's a beautiful memory for the rest of the year about what we do in those summer days to take advantage of living in Gloucester. I, for one, personally, I'm very opposed to telling people what time they can come, what time they can go, unless it's a problem, unless there's a problem. I mean, I read the police reports. I stay on top of that. I treasure Long Beach myself. And so I don't want to see anybody spoil it. But it is a treasure for us here in Gloucester. And thank God that we have some people who really are interested in making money on their investment, but not especially selling multi-million-dollar condominiums. You know, I mean, that's an easy thing to do. Rick doesn't have an easy job here because there's always some complaints from someone. But that's all right, because most of the people really enjoy that, and it's been going on for over a century. I wouldn't want to be a member of the community that has shut that asset that we have. It's a valuable asset. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Any other, I guess we'll go to questions from counselors. Oh, sorry.
Bill McLaughlin, 30B Rockport Road again. I'm not quite sure what they're talking about, the issue with the queuing in front of Rockport Road. My driveways are 3 driveways from the association that sit there, and I've never had issues getting in and out. Sometimes cars turn around and then go down Beachland, but I've never had an issue on Rockport Road not be able to get in and out of my driveway.
Okay, thank you. Questions? Yeah. John or Rob, you already spoke. I know I let that other gentleman speak, but that was just quick. So we're going to move on to questions. And if you would stay there, if we have questions for you, John, that would be great. Or not John, Rob, that would be great. And we have the building inspector here too, if anybody has questions of the building inspector. Have questions from the counselors? Councilor Grow.
I have a couple just to sort of fill in some of the gaps. First off, can we get the hours of operation? When do you let cars start to come into the facility, and what time do you close the gate? You have to come up to the thing, yeah.
Richard Pratt, 110 Long Beach, Rockport. Hours of operation are posted as per my permit from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
So you charge until 5 p.m. and then people can stay until they leave. And do you have a gate on the property?
No, we can't put a gate on it because when we leave at 5 o'clock, there's still a number of cars on a good day that are enjoying the beach and want to stay there for till 7, 7:30, 8 o'clock. The same as Good Harbor or Wingershik.
That covers that. We did a quick question for Rob Vicari, if we could, about enforcement. Sorry, Rob. You have a second? Do you mind? Thank you. Since there you go. Since you're the one who's responsible for enforcement of the permit, how do you deal with complaints about overparking or issues that might come in conflict with the neighborhood?
Is that on? Okay. So what we have to do is usually I'll get a phone call and then I'll have to send one of my inspectors out. And usually this is on a weekend, so I have to pay overtime to check to verify that he's not overcrowding his lot. I believe the count is 194.
225.
225. So as long as they're keeping a count, we're generally happy. As long as they're keeping track of what's going in and what comes out, we don't have any problems.
But if there is a problem, the neighborhood could file a complaint with you, and
Yeah.
you would then deal with
Then we have to go
addressing
down
that.
and deal with it, yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm good.
Questions? Counselor Worthley? Oh, sorry, I wasn't looking that way.
Thank you. Thank you to Ms. Montanino for your representation tonight. Mr. Pratt, I've known you for a long time, and I used to work at Good Harbor Beach and send lots of people down to you once we were full, so I appreciate your operation. A couple of questions. If there were residents on Rockport Road who had concerns about queuing, I hear that there's a discrepancy that there may be or there may not be an issue, but if someone were to have a repeated problem with a driveway blocked, would you be willing to, and I don't think this is a condition of a permit, but would you be willing to pay for a do not block driveway sign or whatever those signs are that would say not block the driveway? And I think we're looking at, I look at the street, I see 6 homes on the left, 5 homes on the left and 3 or 4 on the right, so it would not be many of those.
As far as queuing goes, since the city of Gloucester has initiated the new reservation-only system, there has not been any problems in the area. Cars are not coming down to Gloucester anymore. Anybody that's driven down there on a busy Saturday or Sunday, compared to the old days before before the reservation system was enacted, there used to be a problem. There's no problems anymore. The people are just not coming to Gloucester anymore. So I don't see the need to, as far as filling up, when we filled up this year, it's only been 2 or 3 times all season. So it's not a problem.
My question though, and I appreciate that there is less traffic because of the reservation system, but my question is if someone were to say this is repeatedly happening where people are blocking my driveway, if that were happening, would you be willing to pay for a do not block driveway sign? So if people are queuing, they know not to block the driveway.
What we usually do is just keep the traffic moving if we do fill. But like I said, it's 2 or 3 times a year.
That was a no, you wouldn't be willing to pay for a sign if
Well,
someone
I
were to
can
complain.
initiate a sign if you would like to, you know.
I think it would be that they would request it from the city and then there'd be a cost to the city if we were to. So I don't know that there's a queuing problem, but if there is and someone were saying you're consistently blocking my driveway, would you consider I don't know, it's $50 for a sign that the city would install and that you would pay for?
That's not a problem.
Don't quote me on the number, but that's my last quote on when I did get the cost of those signs. So that's that question. And so I think that would be something to communicate to the association if there is a consistent issue. I think Mr. Gyllenhaal, I think you said that that was your only complaint, is that sometimes people are blocking your driveway. No, I'm sorry, I may have misheard who said that. Okay, so the use of the,
You have to speak in the microphone. Jeff, questions to here, not to the audience, please.
good.
Huh?
I gotta go through the chair. I appreciate that there's a hand raised, but we're past the, sorry. So I was gonna ask about how the reservation system has impacted your
This is
business.
supposed to be of the applicants and staff, not the general public, so.
I wasn't asking, I just referenced the
I
question, but I
understand.
made a
I
mistake in
understand, but-
even addressing your point. I can't.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, no, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for your input.
My apologies for suggesting something that might help someone in the neighborhood if necessary.
Do you have more questions?
One question, do you have liability insurance?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Do
We
you know
have
what-
to submit that to the city council every year when I renew my permit.
Okay, I didn't see that in the conditions, and I didn't see in the ordinance, so thank you for having it. I don't know where that's required.
In order to get my permit every year, I have to show improved liability insurance.
You answered all of my questions. Thank you. Good luck.
Councilor Benson. Get his hand up first.
So I had a question for you. Is you talked about the parking lot closing at 5, but allowing folks to stay there past 5.
Correct.
When do they have to leave? Because I know we talked at the subcommittee that no overnight parking, but just so you can give us a figure of when they have to go.
We have
A time.
restrooms and showers that open till 7 p.m.
Okay.
Which is posted in the parking lot. After 7 p.m., people can still stay on the beach and still park in the lot, but it's not staffed after 5 p.m.
So how do you prevent like overnight parking?
Well, it's posted. So if I get in the morning at 7 and there's a car that's parked overnight, we have a sign there that tallies, comes and tows the cars out of there.
Okay. Okay. And with and going back just quickly to the queuing, what have you done regarding some of the queuing? What is your risk? What have you done as your staff, yourself, to respond to this concern that we've heard tonight?
Once we fill the lot, signs go up, sorry, full. The sign also goes up down at the ice cream corner.
Okay.
That the lots are full, residents only. And if cars still come down, we have an attendant on the street that keeps them just moving.
Okay. No, that makes total sense. All right. Well, thank you.
Councilor Majoita. Oh, sorry. Any other questions for the applicant? I am going to close this public hearing. And do we need a committee report?
Committee report. On a motion by Councilor Gross, seconded by Councilor Gilman, Planning and Development voted 3 in favor, 0 opposed to recommend that the City Council renew the license for Richard Pratt for an open-air parking lot at 2 Beachland Avenue under GCO Section 22-153 with the conditions and restrictions as follows. Number 1, the lot will hold no more than 225 cars as per the site plan on file with the City Clerk's office dated October 31st, 2014, and that the number of vehicles allowed by this license shall be posted. Number 2, the following information shall be posted. A, hours of operation. B, hours restroom is open. C, fees charged for parking. D, a sign that says parking lot full is to be placed at the corner of Thatcher and Rockport Roads. Number 3, an attendant shall be on duty for those hours that the lot is in operation. 4, shrubs along the front of the property shall be maintained. Grass is to be cut in and around the parking lot at all times at the permit holder's expense. Number 5, prior to the issuance of the license by the city clerk, the applicant shall pay over to the Cape Ann Motor Inn the sum of $100 for the maintenance of the Gloucester portion of Long Beach. 6, current approval of the building commissioner and the fire chief must be on file with the city clerk's office. 7, the city of Gloucester will not be held liable for any claims incurred by the parking lot operation. 8, barrels to be brought in at the end of the day and brought out in the morning during the season of operation of the open air parking lot. 9, the automated teller machine, ATM, on the lot will be in operation during business hours only. And 10, this license runs from 5/1/25 to 4/30/2030, and I so move. You want to speak to the motion? Couldn't hear you, Val.
Second.
Thank you. Motion made by Councilor Grow, seconded by Councilor Gilman. Discussion.
You want a little thing on the motion? The applicant already put out the terms of 1.8.3, which defines the reasons under which we would be giving a special permit. And I think those were very clear and open. They satisfy a number of the conditions that we were concerned about. As far as some of the discussion that's been going on about hours of operation, as long as I've lived in Gloucester, I think I've been to the beach during daylight, during main time hours, maybe a half a dozen times. I go to the beach at 5 o'clock. That's the earliest I ever get to the beach, because that's the best time to be there. And I don't go to Long Beach that often, but I would sure hate to think that I couldn't attend and go to the beach during the daylight hours during the summertime, any one of our beaches. The best time, I shouldn't say this, but the best time to go to the beach is between 4 and sunset. And also, I'd be real opposed to limiting access to the beach. I think the concerns that Mr. Russell brought up about the lifeguard, we didn't discuss this at the planning board, but the amount of public beach that Gloucester actually enjoys in that area is relatively small. I don't know this for sure, but my concern would be that the city would be very unlikely to want to be liable for issues that happen on the Rockport side of the property line and putting the city into a potential conflict situation. And of course, the right side of the beach is private property owned by the Cape Ann Motor Inn. So again, I'm not suggesting that we change anything that we have going on here. I'm sensitive to the queuing, but it sounds to me like that's an issue that is not impactful on a regular basis. It sometimes happens, I'm sure. We all deal with traffic every once in a while. It's a pain in the neck when it does happen, but as long as the applicant is willing to address the issues when they come, I'm happy with that. The only thing I would say is that we do need to be sensitive to overparking. We have 2 public lots, or 2 lots that are privately run down there, and we've already had issues this year with the other lot overparking and parking places they shouldn't. So be sensitive to that. I would be very supportive of our building commissioners' eagle-eye view on that, just because it is, you've got 225 spaces. That's a lot. You don't need to push 230, 240. So as long as we're in that mind, I'm fully in support of this permit.
Councilor Memard.
Dazan? Yes, I guess so. I would just follow up on Councilor Grove's comments that this lot has been in action for a long time. It's in my ward. It's something that I've reviewed over the last 10 years on several occasions, along with the other private parking lot that Angela used to operate. And I think generally speaking, it's a community service. It's well maintained and organized. That it's not an undue burden on the neighborhood. If it were, I'd hear a lot more than I do. I hear more about speeding on Rockport Road than I do about parking issues or queuing. So I'm fully in support of renewal of the license according to the terms as stated in the agreement. Thank you.
Councilor Gilman.
Thank you. I will be supporting this for various reasons. I lived in Ward 1 for 29 years, so I'm very familiar with this part of the city. First of all, I believe strongly that the lifeguards are the responsibility of the town or the city, not a privately owned open-air parking space business person. There's a process in place for complaints, as noted by our building inspector, which I totally appreciate him being here tonight to answer that. So if anyone has an issue during this next tenure for this permitting, they can always feel free to call the building inspector, and the issues will be dealt with promptly, and that's very appreciated. So thank you for being here, Rob. Third, we had some issues back the last permitting process, and this owner was wonderful to solve them. It was a matter of people not knowing down the road that it was filled. It was during a time where it was very, very busy, and I was very impressed. I was on P&D at the time that was remedied based on the feedback from the neighbors. And I also think the most important thing here is that I believe all citizens deserve a right to enjoy the beach, and not everybody has access. And if people are parked after 7 and they're still lingering down the beach and they're fighting or they're drinking, it's up to the owners in Rockport and Gloucester, whatever section they're on, to call the police. The police view neighbors as the eyes and ears. And I believe that there is an avenue to take. So I think this is a win-win situation, and I'm proud of all of you for coming and sharing your concerns and support, and I will be supporting this. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Benson.
Thank you, and I will be supporting this as well, and I concur with Councilor Grove's concerns about some of the parking at the other lot where there was more more folks parking than actually spots. I will also say that the beach is valuable. Only about 12% of Massachusetts' 1,400 miles of coastline is open to the public, so it is critical to have access to our beaches. And I concur with the attorney there, and I pronounced your name incorrectly last time, so I will not do it again. And you are correct about this is a jewel of our community. And you talked about the surfers also going there, and that's one of the few beaches where surfing is there because the waves are there, and I think people were inspired by the recent events in during the games for surfing. So again, I really much appreciate you coming forward and everyone here, and hopefully some of the concerns that was presented tonight can be addressed. And I think the applicant presented a way forward around those concerns, around making sure that the queuing and having those signs there, and then when the lot is full, having one sign and then the additional sign, and then turning people around. So you've answered my concerns there, and I full-heartedly support this. And thank you very much.
Councilor Grace.
Will be in support of this. It's nice to see a welcome sign instead of a no trespassing sign. So I am grateful for what you do to the community and for your consideration for the people that live near there. It's clear that you have a lot of respect for the people around there, and I thank you.
Councilor Worthley.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Pratt, for being a very successful business owner. And it's always a good sign when your neighbors are coming out in support of you, because they would be the first ones to be complaining if you weren't running a good, top-notch operation. So I appreciate that. And Ms. Montanino, you did an excellent job once again. And I think you haven't been doing this since you started the permit. That would have been a long time ago, but I'm really impressed with your presentation tonight. Thank you. As some people know, I've worked at Good Harbor Beach, and before the reservation system, we would literally send 1,000 cars down a Long Beach, and then they would be turned away eventually, and they'd be turning around or waiting around to try to get in later. And I played a small role in the beach reservation system being put in place. I know it probably negatively affects your business in some ways. I do hope that you're doing okay with the overflow parking from Good Harbor Beach. When I worked at the beach, it seemed to me that the majority of people who parked in your lot would walk back to Good Harbor Beach. I heard tonight someone said that a large percentage of them go to Long Beach. I'm not sure which it is, but I do want to make it clear, you're not responsible for what happens on the beach. We're regulating the parking lot, and what happens on the beach, it's great that we're welcoming more people, but you're not responsible for that no more than you'd be responsible for something happening at Good Harbor Beach. So I appreciate the concern, but it's not something that we can or should be regulating in any way. I'm happy to support this and appreciate the recommendation from the Planning and Development Committee. Good luck.
Thank you. Any more discussion? Seeing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilor Benson. Councilor Gilman.
Aye.
Councilor Grace. Councilor Gross.
Aye.
Councilor Grow.
Aye.
Councilor Majota.
Yes.
Councilor Memhard.
Aye.
Councilor Nolan.
Aye.
Councilor Worthley.
Yes.
The vote is 9 in favor, 0 opposed. The motion passes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Next order of business, Madam Clerk.
For council vote,
See you in 5 years.
for council vote, the City Council proclamation to commemorate August 26, 2024 as National Women's Equality Day.
Councilor Gilman, have the floor.
Council President, I'm excited tonight to ask all of us to sign a proclamation to commemorate August 26, 2024 as National Women's Equality Day. And this is found in the packet on page 123 for those of you who might be watching. Whereas women in the United States are continuously working to sustain full rights and privileges, public or private, legal or institutional, as citizens of the United States, and whereas women in every state worked to secure women's right to vote, and whereas Congress has designated August 26th, the date the 19th Amendment was certified in 1920 as National Women's Equality Day, and whereas recognizing Women's Equality Day as a day of celebration throughout the country emphasizes the importance of women's work for democracy, and whereas we are honored to be supported by so many of our 501c3 leaders tonight, which will be at this event at City Hall, who advocate and support women's programs and our rights, and now, therefore, be it resolved that the Gloucester City Council will commemorate Women's Equality Day, August 26th, as a national day celebrating the importance of women's suffrage movement and the work to sustain and expand equal rights today, signed by the 2024-2025 Gloucester City Council, has all of our signatures. And I so move.
Motion made by Counselor Gilman, seconded by Counselor Grow. Discussion.
May I?
Yes, you may.
So I am a co-chair of this event along with Amy Shapiro, and she did an event last year which included a proclamation from Mayor Verga and also from the City Council. I was there along with Mayor Verga with about 30 folks from Lanesville. This year we thought it would be a good opportunity to have a centralized event for the second annual event. And we decided that we wanted to get all of the 501c3s that do work for women's issues to be part of the presentation and to be part of the process. So the event is going to be really exciting. It's the panelists are going to be Katie Kahl, who is the director of UMass Marine Station. We have Krista Miller-Shelley, who's the captain of the schooner Adventure, and Melissa Diamond, who's the president and executive director of Wellspring. And Heather Atwood is going to be interviewing them. And then after that, we'll be recognizing local women leaders and mentors. And then we're going to have breakout discussions using Gloucester Conversations as a participatory way to get people talking about what resonated from the panelists and the women that are being recognized. And there's going to be voter registration, Human Rights Commission there, women's services, and it's going to be exciting. It's welcome to all, free to the public. And I really hope that we have a great turnout because I'm very excited about it. So thank you, hopefully, for supporting this. And I appreciate being allowed to bring this up to the council. Thank you all.
Counselor Grow.
Thank you, Val, for bringing forward this proclamation. As always, I will take my mantle of Debbie Downer. We've had suffrage now for women 105 years, and it was hard won for, it was hard fought for, hard won. And we are living in a country now, and I won't even worry about the rest of the world, but a country now where women's rights are more at risk than they seemingly have been in decades. And I think it's really important for us to reflect on this day what it means to more than half the population of this country, and that we be vigilant about protecting those rights, protecting the gains that women have fought for and won and died for, frankly, and not let national politics, local politics, any politician Supreme Court justice, whatever. Tear down those rights. If you have women in your life, if you have mothers, if you have daughters, if you have nieces, granddaughters, sisters, if you happen to be married to a woman, if you happen to not be married to a woman, but know women, understand that their rights are at risk, and everything that we do to allow that to happen is going to degrade their human rights and our community and our country. So take this time on August 26th to celebrate suffrage and the progress that has been made, but know that we have also got a lot of work moving forward to keep it from falling backwards. End of sermon.
Councilor Benson, let's keep national politics out of it, please.
Oh yeah, I will definitely try to do that.
Succeed, please.
Yes, and this is what I will say is thank you for bringing this forward. And as someone who I've admired you for a great length of time and look up to you on this council, and I really appreciate what you've done in being one of the few women and Marjorie on this city council where it's all men except you two, and sometimes it's probably a challenge. And I very much appreciate you both. And I will say, looking at women's excellence, we saw during the games women's excellence. And as someone, we saw, for example, the parity of women in sports. That's extraordinary, something to celebrate. Is that okay? Hopefully that's not too national. But also I will agree that we have to continue to be vigilant for women's rights and the attack of women's rights across the country and across the world. And that's where I won't go any further on that. But lastly, I will say I look forward to attending this event. I look forward to signing this proclamation. And so as we celebrate a hard-fought battle for women's right to vote and being the 19th Amendment, and it really is an extraordinary moment in history to celebrate that and to see and to continue to lift women's voices up in politics locally and elsewhere in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Grace.
Val, thank you so much for facilitating this and putting all of your energy and your passion into this. I appreciate you. I appreciate all that you do. Thank you.
I'm very blessed in my life to have been surrounded by women of all ilk that Jason mentioned, mother, nieces, daughters, wife, who are all have been secure in their path themselves, but have had, the struggles, and I think that women have today and have had. And it's true, we're trying to go backwards a little bit by certain things that have happened recently. But bringing this forward is really the celebration and the awareness. Bringing the awareness is so key that this needs to be kept on everybody's mind and forefront, because as Councilor Gross said, it's over half our population, and these and women have contributed so much to our American society that they need to be really brought to women's equality. It just really needs to be, think about it every day on everything that we do. And I just would really like to thank you, Val, for pushing this forward. Yep, Councilor Worthley.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Val, for bringing this forward. I also want to thank Amy Shapiro, and today's her birthday, so what a better birthday present for her than us unanimously supporting this. I have a mother, I have two sisters, I have a daughter, I have a lot of friends who are women, and I think that we shouldn't forget. And it's very easy just to continue on day after day and thinking and assuming that these rights that were hard fought and earned are rights that will never be in jeopardy again, but that's not the case. And so I appreciate you bringing attention to this, and I look forward to the event that you're going to have in that celebration. Thank you.
Okay. All in favor of this proclamation?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, 9-0. Next order of business, Madam Clerk.
Before I read the next order, I did want to point out, Councilor Gilman, you mentioned that you were going to be having voter registration at that event, and the deadline to register to vote for the September 3rd state primary is Saturday, August 24th. So you certainly could do voter registration at that event, but anyone registering should know they wouldn't be eligible for the September 3rd primary. Yes, they would. Yep. The next order of business is the warrant for the September 3rd, 2024 state primary for council vote.
I'll entertain a motion. So moved. Councilor Gilman made the motion. Councilor Nolan seconded the motion to adopt the warrant for the September 3rd, 2024 state primary. All those in favor? Aye. The ayes have it, 9-0. Next order of business.
Councilors' requests to the mayor.
Okay. Councilors' request to the mayor. We'll start with Councilor Benson. You're first on the roll call.
Yes. First off, I apologize for arriving a few minutes late. I was at a discussion at City Hall regarding that occurred due to some racist graffiti that had happened in Ward 2 specifically, and my comments were clear and continue to be clear that it is disgusting, and all of us here have condemned that. But I just want to first off apologize for being a few minutes late. And I will make a comment, Val, is the American flag was sewn by a woman, and Betsy Ross is one of the first. Women were really part of the beginning of America, and we look at the American Revolution as well. So I just wanted to think of that. And just a couple of things, just to remind folks in Ward 2 is to continue to slow down. There's a lot of people in Ward 2 that I've been talking to is about the continued speeding, and I just want to let residents know, slow down. And also continue to remind folks about the farmers market every Wednesday at Burnham's Field starting at 2 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Gilman.
I don't have any requests to the mayor, but I just wanted to remind everybody that this Saturday is the Rotary Pancake Breakfast. Begins at 7 in the morning. And encourage everybody to go there. And thank you to the Rotary for their outstanding service to the city. Service before self. It's awesome. And I also just wanted to note that I should have acknowledged Amy Shapiro, as Councilor Worthley did. She actually was the pioneer of this event and started this on her own last year at the Lanesville Community Center. And she is a co-chair this year. And she's been just terrific to work with. So, and happy birthday, Amy.
Okay, Councilor Grace.
Firstly, I just wanted to thank Dylan for a very successful co-ward meeting last night. I'm grateful to work so closely with you. I think where our wards are so intertwined that we can do a lot of good when we work together. And secondly, I just want to give a shout out and a thank you to Joe Novello and the Fiesta Committee for their quick response of cleaning up the mess that was on the greasy pole. There was a lot of hullabaloo on social media about it. It has been cleaned up. It was done within 24 hours of being notified of it, and I am grateful. And thank you to Lieutenant Nicastro for putting the speeding sign on Centennial Avenue so we can try to determine, how quickly people are traveling down there, which leads me into my request to the mayor that on Centennial Avenue, there is no school zone sign. It's only on Leslie O. Johnson Road, and I think that the students would benefit for having a school zone sign on Centennial Ave, which would give an automatic 20-mile-an-hour speed limit for at least a portion of the day. And in keeping with that, I also noticed in working with a constituent that there is no bus stop on the Commonwealth Ave, Washington Street bus stop, which is very dangerous for the kids. It's already dangerous enough there because these crosswalk signs are not anywhere near the crosswalks, and there's also no bus stop sign. So that's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilor Grow.
I'm good, thank you.
Councilor Majota.
I just have one request to the mayor. It's about a tree issue at 1085 Washington Street. It has been acknowledged by the city of Gloucester through C-Click Flicks, and I just would like some more clarification and information about the issue, if anything can be done. Thank you.
Councilor Memard.
I would just follow on Councillor Benson's urging to all of our residents in Gloucester and all of our visitors as well. It's summertime, it's August, we live on a beautiful island community, but we need to slow down on our roads, specifically Nautilus Road. You're looking at the ocean, you're not looking at the kids in front of you crossing the street, running across. Farrington Avenue, slow down. East Main Street, slow down. And as they said earlier this evening, Rockport Road, slow down. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Nolan.
I have no ask of the mayor or the administration. I just want to thank all the city employees. It's been a wonderful summer. Things have worked very smooth. The parks have been looking good. The cemetery's looking great. Everything's going well. Thank you all.
Councilor Worthley.
Yes, thank you. A couple announcements and a couple of requests, please. So I was happy to go to the Gloucester Fisherman's Memorial on Saturday. That was a well-attended event, and it was just really well done, and I want to announce that that happened. I'm requesting a stop sign on School Street. I think we may have talked about this, Councilor Benson. On School Street before Pine Street, there's a stop sign on the right side. It's a one-way street. There's a sidewalk, cars parked. You're kind of a long ways away from the stop sign. It's hard to see if there's a large car parked there. I'm requesting that the mayor ask the DPW director consider a stop sign on the left side as well, because people come down that street fast and sometimes don't see people coming out of Pine Street. I'd like to request the mayor to paint lines on Dory Road, especially around that sharp corner. And also, I know the state was here, the Department of Transportation was here working on the extension, but at Blackburn Rotary, you can't see the sign that says Rotary, so coming out of Dory Road, there could be some people who didn't know you go around. I don't know, but you can't see the Rotary sign. A couple other things. Hold on. I'd like to commend Police Officer Brian Crowley, who he's off duty and ran into a burning building to save a life. Okay. I don't know that there's things that are greater than running into a burning building to save someone else. I mean, I can't imagine that we can find something more commendable than that. So I just want to give them a shout out for that, and the police and fire for their follow-up with that, in the neighborhood too. I noticed in today's newspaper that the creek was closed late yesterday, I believe. And I remember last year, the mayor did a really good presentation in the middle of the summer and said there'd be a follow-up at the end of this, in the fall, and end the season, to look at next steps. I don't know that that meeting happened, but it'd be good to think we're heading towards a solution, and I don't know if we have. And so I just like to bring that to the mayor's attention. Maybe we could have a meeting that has some focus on what's happening at the creek and if there's any progress to be made. Thank you for the shout out for the Rotary breakfast. I'll be there. I think you'll be there in the morning for a couple of pancake flips. My kids will be there and will be serving. And that's also the beginning of the Waterfront Festival. So again, be careful, drive slowly, and be patient with the bridge and intense parking issues. That's it for me. Thank you, everybody. Actually, can I add one more thing before I finish? I want to thank Councilor Benson and Councilor Grace for inviting me to take minutes at their meeting last night. I was happy to help.
You reminded me of it when you said the Waterfront Festival. David Benjamin is having a huge kind of Taylor Swift Barbie concert, encouraging to bring children. It's the 17th, this Saturday night at Stage Fort Park. Wear your pink, bring your Barbie dolls. Pink power, go women.
Thank you. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion to adjourn by Counselor Grow, who didn't speak in the microphone, and seconded by Counselor Majota, who did not speak into a microphone, so the recording secretary could hear it. All those in favor? Aye.